UFC 309 is next weekend, and in the main event, we have Jon Jones taking on Stipe Miocic, but that's not the fight we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss the co-main event, a 5-round fight between former champion Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler in a rematch. And this is a very fun, interesting rematch because it kind of seems like anything could happen, even though we have this inner feeling that like Charles Oliveira is going to do the same thing that he did the first time, the second time to Michael Chandler. But we really don't know because it is MMA. Anything can happen. And we got the first fight right here behind my head on the poster. We are going to discuss this fight. We're going to dive into who I think is going to win and how I think the fight's going to play out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get into it. In the co-main event, Charles Oliveira will be taking on Michael Chandler in a 5-round fight, and I think it's pretty obvious this fight's not going to go 5 rounds. Someone's going to get finished. That's why they put it in the co-main event. Chandler hasn't fought in 2 years. Charles Oliveira's coming off a loss to Arman Tsarukyan, so he's going to be hungry for a finish. It's just not going to happen. Charles Oliveira is a finisher, and he's going to finish the fight within 3 rounds, like how he always does in almost every single fight. And Michael Chandler, he's explosive. He likes to get in the pocket. He likes to be in danger. That's how he finished Tony Ferguson. That's how he finished Dan Hooker. He likes to get in the fire. He wants to get hit so he can land something crazy and knock you out. That's how this fight's going to go. It's not going to be some technical battle. You're not going to see somebody striking look way better and they technically did this to beat. No, it's just going to be from a crazy exchange or a crazy precise punch that's going to cause a finish or a choke, right? That's what's going to happen. Let's be real. Now, I think Charles Oliveira is going to brutally beat up Michael Chandler, and I'm going to tell you why. One, the fight that happened in 2021 right here on this poster, the fight that happened in 2021, Michael Chandler is not the same fighter from that fight, right? And I don't think he's gotten better since that fight, but I think Oliveira has. Since 2021, Michael Chandler, yes, he did beat Tony Ferguson, and it was a beautiful kick, but he also lost to Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, and he didn't lose their fights because it was close. He lost the fights because of his terrible fighting IQ. Going into the fire, thinking that he's going to outstrike Justin Gaethje, or his power is going to put Justin Gaethje down, or that he's going to stop the boxing from Dustin Poirier and be able to put him out or out wrestle him. It didn't happen. It's not going to happen, right? He has terrible fighting IQ, and he has not improved at all since we've seen him against Charles Oliveira in 2021. Let's be real, right? But Charles Oliveira, since that fight, since beating Michael Chandler in 2021, had also beat Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Beneil Dariush, but he also lost to Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. And not only has he, won since the first Michael Chandler fight, but he's also learned a lot, I think, right? Fighting someone like a Islam Makhachev or Arman Tsarukyan, you don't get better or you improve without learning from something, right? And we saw after the Islam Makhachev fight, him beating Beneil Dariush, it didn't look like much has changed, but it did, right? He didn't come out so explosive. He was a little bit more calm, and he finished Beneil Dariush in the first round with his striking, kind of similar to how he finished Michael Chandler in 2021. And then he lost to Arman Tsarukyan. Let's not get this wrong. Arman didn't beat up Charles Oliveira when they fought. Charles Oliveira just lost because he didn't do enough to win. He was comfortable on his back, and that's one thing he cannot do against Michael Chandler, and we're going to get into that. He cannot be comfortable on his back because he doesn't do enough to be active to win the round or to win anything, and so he just gets beat up on the ground. But it's not like he lost 3 rounds and he looked terrible against Arman Tsarukyan. No, like he lost a close fight, and you could argue if it went to 5 rounds, maybe Charles Oliveira would have pulled something off. It's unlikely because Charles Oliveira only wins fights within the 3 rounds if he finishes somebody, but you never know. But since 2021, I feel like Chandler is just that brawler guy, and that's why we like him. He's a very interesting guy, but let's be real. Chandler has not fought since November 12th, 2022, right? 2 years since we've seen him fight. So there is a possibility of ring rust, or he could be in top shape due to his time off and preparation for the Conor fight, right? It's unlikely, but it could be true. Chandler may be in a good mental state, though. A lot of people are talking about this, and I'm kind of on the other end. People think that Chandler doesn't have a good mental state and that physically he's good, but mentally he's not. I think it's the opposite. I think Chandler is in a good mental state because I think in his head he thinks, if I beat Charles Oliveira, I'm next for the belt. And that is way better than fighting Conor McGregor. However, yes, you do get the money fight against Conor, but I could be wrong. I could be stupid and I might not get this, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have gotten that much more fighting Conor because I think he was under the same contract. It's not like he's getting pay-per-view points. I could be wrong, so, don't fucking kill me in this, but I don't think it was going to make that big of a difference. But fighting Charles Oliveira, if you beat Charles Oliveira, not only do you get that redemption win against Charles Oliveira from 2021, but now you get to fight Islam Makhachev for the belt, and then that's when you get even bigger than what could have been against Conor, right? But mentally, yes, I think he is better than what he was, right, during the Conor fight. He's not fighting Conor. Oh, well, Conor might not ever fight again, but he could fight for the belt, right? Chandler, if he wins. But physically, I don't think Michael Chandler is in a good physical state, right? I feel like maybe he's possibly overtrained himself. It is good to stay in shape and, train year round, but if you're constantly pushing the max, which it looks like that's what Michael Chandler's doing. He's fucking jacked. He's got veins popping out of him. He's always doing these explosive workouts. And if you overtrain your body and you've got a bad weight cut, and let's not forget, Michael Chandler was supposed to fight in the welterweight division against Conor. Now he's fighting lightweight against Oliveira. He has to cut some weight. I don't think that's good for you when you're fighting Oliveira, who has power. He can crack your chin, and everybody knows this. If you have to cut a lot of weight, especially from welterweight to lightweight, where you're already lean and jacked, you have a higher chance of getting knocked out. So that's not good at all. I think Chandler, his best chance at beating Oliveira is within the first 2 minutes of the first round. If he can't finish him in the first round, I don't think it's going to happen. If you look at the first round in 2021 compared to the second round, Chandler did use a lot of energy in that first round, and then when he came out that second round, he didn't look as sharp and then got knocked out immediately. Now, I'm not saying that's why he got knocked out, but he did waste a lot of energy. If we go back and look at that first fight in 2021, Chandler's not this high technical fighter where it's like, oh wow, he's got sharp boxing, his wrestling is so amazing, nobody can take him down, he makes no mistakes. No, that's not correct at all. Chandler is not a high IQ fighter. Like I say this again, he makes a lot of mistakes. If you go back and watch the first fight, Charles Oliveira had the back of Chandler, and Chandler, instead of fighting the hooks or working towards the cage and getting Oliveira off of you, he decides to jump up with Oliveira on his back and then just drop down trying to shake him off. Like, it worked the first time, right? He didn't shake off Oliveira, but, Oliveira didn't immediately choke him out. It didn't, kill him in the first time, but if you do that again, you're done. You cannot make these dumb IQ mistakes in a fight against Oliveira. And in the first fight, if we look back, there's multiple times where Chandler in the first round is keeping his hands down when he is striking. He's a short fighter. His range is not that long. And what he did in the first round is how Charles Oliveira exploited him in the second round. If you look at the early exchange, the boxing exchanges in the first round compared to the second round, you can see where Oliveira saw the similarities in the first round and second round, and then use that to knock him out in the second round, right? In the first round, Charles Oliveira is just shelling up, and there is an opportunity to throw that left hook and knock out Chandler, but he waited. And then in the second round, Michael Chandler's throwing that 1-2, and literally, and as Chandler is like low and his hand is down, Oliveira throws the left hook, wobbles Chandler, throws the right hook, left hook, and drops Chandler, knocks him out. Chandler is not this very high technical IQ fighter, keeping his hands up, moving inside. No, he's explosive. He's throwing overhands, these looping punches, trying to kill his opponent, using a lot of energy. Whenever he looks like a white belt in a jiu-jitsu tournament who like spasms everything he does, right? He's just like fucking using his muscle and energy, his explosiveness to get out of everything. It's not like he's like technically doing anything correct. And that's the problem with Michael Chandler, right? Although Oliveira lost to Arman Tsarukyan, he did not suffer a significant beating, and I simply think that Oliveira is going to look better than Chandler. I think he's going to finish him early. I think he's got long limbs, so the biggest thing Oliveira cannot do is he cannot get comfortable on his back, and he did that in the first round against Michael Chandler, and that's how he lost. He got put on his back, and he was just comfortable there. However, I do think I like Oliveira sometimes on his back, no homo, because he has long limbs. He can always go for the triangles or the arm bars, but when he is there for a long time, he doesn't really get up in a hurry, and he just loses the round. And you can't do that against Michael Chandler because Michael Chandler will just constantly throw a hammer fist and ground and pound a win for that round. I think Oliveira is very good. He's very good with distance when he strikes. He's really good at using the leg kicks and the hooks in his striking to kind of close the distance, right? If you go back and watch the first round in 2021 when they first fought, Oliveira right away threw a right calf kick and got Michael Chandler's legs to come out under him, and then he threw a hook, landing a good shot, right? So Charles Oliveira has to do that. I think range is a crucial factor in this fight, and I think Oliveira will execute that better than Michael Chandler will. I think Michael Chandler is just going to be looking for explosiveness, and that's how he'll win. Final thought, final thing on this fight. Michael Chandler is also 0-3 in Madison Square Garden, and I think that will be 0-4. I just don't think he'll beat Charles Oliveira. And I think Charles Oliveira is just a better fighter. He's improved more. Michael Chandler hasn't fought in 2 years, although he is going to be healed up from when he fought before. I think he'll have a little bit of ring rust. He overworked his body, and I just don't think he is the same technical fighter or as good as Charles Oliveira. So I got Charles Oliveira winning first round knockout. I think he is going to land either like a crisp 2 down the middle, or he'll throw like an uppercut and it's going to wobble Chandler, and he's just going to put the punches together and then really finish Chandler on his feet. And I can see Chandler, it's going to be similar to like the first fight that they had, where Chandler's going to be like wobbling towards the fence, and then Oliveira's just going to keep landing big punches and knock out Chandler. I think that's what it's going to be. First round KO for Charles Oliveira. That's who I think is going to win. Let me know who you think is going to win. Comment who you think is going to win or how the fight will play out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.